Hi everyone, my name is Ashley, and on my channel I like to talk about faith, motherhood, and homeschool. As you saw in the title, today's video is going to be centered on homeschool, and we are going to be talking about homeschool curriculum that I bought this year and last year that we didn't end up using or enjoying for whatever reason. So I know that right now a lot of people are looking at curriculum and what they should use for their upcoming homeschool year. And it can be really overwhelming when you see so many good curriculum options on the internet. And there is definitely not a lack of good homeschool options, but sometimes it can be really tempting to go out and purchase something because somebody else said it was really good without considering the cons of that curriculum. And I'll be honest, I'm not one of those people who is like, buy all the curriculum. I like to make informed decisions on what I'm going to purchase. I just think it is a lot wiser than spending unnecessary money on something that might not even be really beneficial to our family and our homeschool. And so I do try to research what I'm going to use beforehand rather than just diving right in because something looks really aesthetically pleasing or good on the outside. So I just wanted to kind of share some curriculum that I did end up purchasing even after looking into it, but I, for whatever reason, didn't end up using it or liking it, just so that you can kind of see that other perspective of, the curriculum not being so perfect. So yeah, let's get into today's video. I also wanted to add in that when I'm purchasing homeschool curriculum, I obviously do like to consider my children's learning styles and what I know will probably go over easier. With that being said, I do not purchase my curriculum based on only what my children would want to do or what they would like. I do try to follow their interests and all of that and consider their learning styles, like I said. But before I get into this video, I just want to say there are always going to be things in your homeschool, the same as with public school, that your children don't really like to do. Like math, for example, I didn't like learning math in school, and I have a child who doesn't really favor math in our homeschool. And we've used quite a few different curriculums. And so I just want to mention that it is really important to remember that you are the parent, and it is our responsibility to make the best choices for our children. And sometimes you will just never find the perfect curriculum that your child is happy with. They just might not like that subject, and I still think it's important that they do it anyways. And of course, like I said, we could try to meet their needs and their learning styles, but I do think it's important that we do choose curriculum that we think is going to be beneficial to them in the long run, rather than, well, they don't like that, so I'm just gonna not use that type of thing. So yeah, all of these curriculums that I'm going to share about today, I don't not like them just because my children, for whatever reason, complained about doing it. It is more, we actually did try them, and I just have my own personal reasons for not liking them, as well as just them not really learning very much from it compared to other options out there. So I just did want to mention that quickly. I don't make our homeschool curriculum choices just dependent on what my children would want to do, because if I'm being honest, they probably wouldn't want to do very much if I left the decision entirely up to them. So I just want to say that quickly. And yeah, let's get into the curriculum that I really tried and did not like in our homeschool. The first curriculum I want to mention that we tried and I don't want to say I didn't like it, but we are not really using it as a full curriculum, and that is the Life of Fred math curriculum. So when I purchased this, I thought in theory it sounded really good. It's like a storybook approach, and it's a really fun story about a guy named Fred who is like a child who's a professor. It's a really funny story, and there is learning math in this curriculum. Some things that I don't really like about it, I feel like it's not enough to be considered a full curriculum. Although it is supposedly a full curriculum, I think that is really optimistic to say. I don't think it is a full curriculum, and it didn't really meet my expectations in that way. I also found there wasn't enough repetition of certain concepts. We only actually went through apples, and I didn't find there was really enough like repetition over some of the concepts to really grasp it, I guess. And maybe that's just my preference, because I do kind of want them to master certain skills, rather than like just working on one thing one day and one thing the next and never really grasping like a full mastery sort of understanding of that concept. And so yeah, I didn't find Life of Fred was really a full curriculum in my opinion, but I know a lot of people really like it. But yeah, that is just kind of my issue with it, and why I'm not proceeding with it as a full curriculum. I will say I think this could be a really good curriculum for like maybe a supplement if you have time for that. I feel like we have not really had any time to do it because we're using this Simply Good and the Beautiful math, and those are enough for my daughter. I don't really feel like I need to add any sort of supplement, and so we have not used our Life of Fred. I might pull it out in the summer to use, just kind of for fun, but I'm not really sure if I will realistically ever get to it. So this is one curriculum that I sort of regret buying because I don't think it's going to actually get a lot of use. They are still perfect looking because literally we have never really gotten into it. So yeah, Life of Fred for us was a no. Been a homeschooler long enough, you've probably heard about master books. I've never used master books for math or language arts. However, I did decide to try it for science. I will say there's a lot of positives about this curriculum. If you're a Christian, it is very God-centered, which is really nice. The story is very nice to go through. But I will say some of the information for my children, it was kind of over their heads. And because I have 3 children, I feel like science is one of those subjects that I would prefer to kind of group all of them together and be learning the same thing. If I'm using this curriculum, my 5-year-old will definitely not understand most of this, to be honest. She might understand like things here and there, but I just found that really difficult because she wasn't able to focus, and then my 2nd grader would have a hard time focusing as well. And even for my 2nd grader, she really didn't seem that engaged in the information. And again, they don't need to like every subject, but yeah, I just really found it wasn't working. It just, we couldn't really, I guess, get a full grasping of the information. I found I had to really simplify it, and yeah, it just wasn't really the best fit for us. There are activities, but you know, there are only like, you know, an activity for the child who's supposed to be doing the math or the science curriculum. And so, yeah, there's no extra pages. I guess I could maybe photocopy them. I don't even know if you're allowed to do that with this curriculum. So please don't quote me on that, or, you know, go do that. But yeah, the activities also were not really suitable for my 5-year-old. And I guess for science, it's just one of those subjects that I really want us to just be grouping together and learning it together. So this was definitely a miss for us. I did buy it last year to use last year. We didn't use it last year. I kept it to use this year, and again, we just couldn't get into it. And so I will not be proceeding with master books, unfortunately. But that being said, it is a really solid Christian curriculum, and I think a lot of people would really enjoy it. It was just not for us. So the next curriculum I wanted to mention is the Abeka K-5 program. I don't currently have it with me, but I will insert a picture here if I'm able to. So that curriculum I used for my 2nd grader in kindergarten at the time. She was in senior kindergarten, and I purchased that, and it was actually the first homeschool Christian curriculum that I ever purchased. So there were quite a few things I didn't like about that curriculum. One, for kindergarten curriculum, it is a lot of preparation. There are a lot of like little cards and all of that. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of flashcards anyways, which maybe I will make another video on things that I don't use in our homeschool. Flashcards are not one of them. I don't really find them that effective, to be honest. And yeah, so Abeka has a lot of little activities and things to prepare with each lesson, and you kind of have to do that the night before. It's not really open and go. Because I had other younger children, it just wasn't what I wanted in a curriculum because of all the preparation. And I don't think I would have minded the preparation so much if I actually enjoyed doing the curriculum with her, but there were quite a few cons that I actually didn't like. I really found it was, it's supposed to be a Christian curriculum, and I honestly didn't feel it met my expectations in that area. I feel like it didn't really ever mention God, and that's obviously okay, like it doesn't need to, but because it was labeled a Christian curriculum, I feel like for the price paid, especially being a Canadian, because there's exchange rates and everything, I would have just liked to see maybe God a little bit more in the curriculum, and I didn't see that. Of course, it is a kindergarten curriculum, and you could just add your own thing, so if that's not an issue for you, maybe you would really like it, because quite a few people do. But there are other really good Christian curriculums out there, even in kindergarten, that really point them back to Jesus and have like Christ in the curriculum. Christian Light is what we are currently using with my senior kindergartner this year, and they do actually talk about character building and God, and I really like that they add that component in there. I also found the learning to read portion for my daughter at the time, I didn't feel like it was really, again, meeting my expectations. I don't feel like it really was beneficial in teaching her to read. To be honest, I noticed a lot of the words that she was learning from Rebecca, she was not actually reading the sounds. She was actually just guessing the word because it appears so many times, which is obviously a component of learning to read, but I don't feel like she was like actually reading the words, if that makes sense. So we do not use Rebecca K-5 anymore, but it is still a really like well-favored curriculum in the homeschool community, and a lot of people do like it. I also found it was very school at home type of thing, which again is not a bad thing, but it just was not what I was looking for. And so I actually really prefer Christian Light's kindergarten curriculum for my children, and they have done really well with that. So yeah, that is all for the curriculum that I purchased and didn't like. To be honest, I'm sure a lot of you probably have a lot more you could add to this list. I would be interested in hearing what curriculum you purchased and didn't end up liking or using. For me, I think my list is so short because I really do try to consider the curriculum, the pros and the cons, before I go out and purchase it. I don't like to purchase something on first glance. I've been tempted to do that, but I've always later been revealed things that made me kind of happy that I didn't just jump into a certain curriculum and buy it. So yeah, I have had a lot of good luck with using the curriculum that we actually go out and purchase, but these are just a few of the ones that we really didn't like. There are a few other ones actually, like Christian Light grade 2 math, or grade 1 math, sorry. We did use that last year, and it was a great curriculum as far as them learning the concepts, but it was very dry. So we did switch maths, not for any like major reason, and so that's why I didn't really want to add the Christian Light math in here, because I don't want to say anything negative because it's a really good curriculum, but we just wanted to just try something else, and so we did for the next year. But yeah, we've been pretty lucky with not purchasing too much curriculum that we didn't end up using. And I do think it is important, like when buying curriculum, it is tempting to go out and buy all the things because it looks really good and aesthetic or whatever. But I would really encourage you as a homeschool mom to really pray. First off, if you're a Christian, pray that God would show you what to use for your family, because that's what I've done. And I would also say to really look into the pros and the cons, because everything upon first glance can seem really appealing, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be a good fit for you. And I know that a lot of times, you know, there's this like mentality in the homeschool community, like, we just buy all the curriculum and we buy all the books. And honestly, to be honest, I actually don't think that's necessarily a beneficial opinion or perspective to have. I think it's good to try different things if something's not working for you, but I really think like we should be wise with our money, or our husband's money if he's the one providing. and we should consider things before we purchase them. And I've tried to do that with curriculum. Of course, you know, sometimes you really think something is going to work for you and it just doesn't end up working, and that's fine, that happens. But I do think we should be careful to not waste money on things before we've researched them. And so that's why I wanted to make this video, just to kind of share about these curriculums that I've tried and didn't work for me, to maybe save you some money or, you know, just give my perspective. So if you're a Christian, I also want to just mention this. For the Proverbs 31 woman, it talks about how she considers a field before she buys it. And I think we should consider purchases before we buy them, before we go out and spend our husband's hard-earned money or our hard-earned money. So yeah, that is just something to consider. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and let me know in the comments what curriculum you purchased and didn't like. I will be sharing our next year's curriculum picks very soon, so you will definitely get a glance at what curriculum that I do love, and maybe that'll give you some ideas for your upcoming homeschool year. So thank you again for watching.